So here's another way to break down the mind. There's literally hundreds, but this one will help you too, I think. So if you think about what's going on in your mind that's positive or helpful, and what's going on in your mind that is negative or unhelpful, and then you've got the rational, as I talked about before, so your thoughts or your thinking, and then the emotional part of your mind, or the feeling part, there's 4 ways you can look at things. There's constructive thoughts, rational thoughts, something like, I can do this, or I am a good person, or I am resilient. Then there's negative or destructive thoughts. So this is impossible. I can't do this. There's no way. And then there's positive emotions or constructive feelings. Feelings like curiosity, interest, pride, and passion. And then there's what I would term negative or destructive feelings. And these might be things like despair, destructive anger, because there can be constructive anger, contempt, and let's say fear, which is keeping you from doing the right thing. Because fear can also be useful if it's keeping us alive. So that's another way to kind of break down this rather complex thing called the mind. Rational versus emotional, positive versus negative. It's an oversimplification, but I think we need these frameworks to help us make sense of this. And here's the order in which your brain works, and this is fascinating to me as well, because I didn't get this for most of my life. So we got this guy walking along, and what happens is the emotional part of your mind is always scanning the horizon for danger. So it's always on the lookout. It casts a very wide net, and it's always looking out for anything that should cause anger, fear, or sadness. Its function is to keep you alive, and it does a good job of that. But until recently, we've only focused on the negative parts of emotion. In the last 10 years, we've started discovering more about why and how in terms of positive emotion, which, again, I'll get to later. So the emotional mind is always scanning for danger. Then within that net that is cast by the emotional mind, your attention comes into play. So the emotional mind dictates what you pay attention to, all right? And then within that more narrow net, reason comes into play, your thinking mind. So everything you attend to, everything you think about, is in some way influenced by your emotional mind. Well, why does it work that way? Okay, part of it is evolution. Evolution? You say evolution, I say evolution. All right, so the way the brain developed is sort of like a 3-layer ice cream cone, a 3-scoop ice cream cone. So the first scoop on the ice cream cone was the reptilian brain. It's the primitive brain that's responsible mostly for our instincts, controlling our body, heart, lungs, digestion, that sort of thing. And it's been in existence for over 50 million years. The second scoop on the ice cream cone is the limbic system, known as the lizard brain or the emotional brain. And so this layer adds that emotional component to your mind. And it came into being about 3 to 10 million years ago. The top scoop on the ice cream cone, the third scoop, is the cortex. And that's known as the rational brain. That's the thinking mind. And it's only been around for about 40,000 to 2 million years. What we can garner from this is that the emotional brain has been around for millions of years longer than the thinking brain. It's been through thousands of more revisions and is therefore more faster, more powerful, and can hijack the thinking mind when it feels it's necessary. So it's critical to become more aware of the emotional part of the mind and how it takes over if we want that most powerful mind we can develop. All right, so you can say, well, yeah, whatever. Why should I care? So what? Well, let me tell you. Some of the studies have found that in business, vice presidents with what I call advanced tools for the mind, or ATM, brought in over 300% more revenue annually than those vice presidents that didn't have those advanced tools for the mind. In highly competitive sports, athletes with advanced tools for the mind perform better and recover from injuries faster. And in fact, one of the greatest differentiators between elite athletes is their ability to rebound quickly from negative emotions, disappointment, anger itself, when they miss a shot in the NBA Finals. How do you rebound from that quickly in a matter of seconds so that you can continue to stay in the zone or in a calm place to perform at your very best? College students with ATMs were more likely to persevere through difficulty and graduate. Advanced Tools for the Mind predicts how desirable your first job is, how much money you're going to make, and how your career progresses. And people with greater tools for the mind live longer, have better functioning immune systems, and are more satisfied with life. So to me, I've been thinking about this for a very long time. And my conclusion is that the strongest you can develop is a balance between a powerful thinking mind and a well-managed feeling mind. So balancing the rational with the emotional. And these advanced tools for the mind that I talk about are a series of scientifically proven tools to help you achieve the most powerful you can develop. The problem is, it's very difficult to speak to and train the emotional part of your mind. You can't do it by simply talking to it and teaching to it like we do in the public school system, for instance. To speak to and train the emotional mind, you need things like metaphor, or allegory, or music, or poetry, or stories. So let me give you a metaphor, another framework, so to speak, to think about the rational and the emotional mind. So the best metaphor I know of is the mind as a rider on a wild stallion, where the rider is your rational, thinking mind, and the wild stallion is the emotional part of your mind. So ideally, they would work together in cooperation and concert, and they would go down the path that the rational mind wants them to go down. In reality, the stallion is often looking to eat wild grass on the side of the path, or galloping at full speed in the wrong direction, or struggling against the rider to do what it wants to do. Or maybe it sees what it considers a predator and runs away in the wrong direction. In any case, the goal is to find ways for more cooperation between the rider and the stallion.